5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome to Truth, Beer, and Consequences, everybody.
Woohoo!
Woohoo indeed, Julia.
Woot, woot.
Woot, woot indeed, Gnome. Well, this is the podcast where my co-hosts and I listen to all the Cincinnati-based craft beer podcasts and media from the previous week. We get together at a podcast host, and today we are back at Higher Gravity Summit Park.
We are back.
We are back.
Yeah, we're back.
Thank you for being a gracious podcast host. Now, hopefully there aren't too many consequences from the hosts of the other podcasts and media. And so far, so good. And you know what? If you got a problem with it, well, then talk to the hand. You remember that, Julia, back when they said talk to the hand?
I do.
Yeah. I am
Starting off great.
yeah.
Bright.
Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I brewed beer in the Cincinnati area for several years. Some of the stuff was good. And anyway, thank you to all of you who listen. I am about to introduce the best co-host in Podcastlandia. To my left.
I guess I'm to your left. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Julia. I drink all the craft beer in Cincinnati, except for the ones that I don't remember if I've had or not. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I want to remind everyone to pre-order your beer vent box from Higher Gravity. I think they're only doing pre-orders until December 1st.
Well, you can only do pre-orders.
True.
You can only order it ahead of time.
Order it ahead of time.
Only pre-order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exclusive.
25 days, 25 beers, 7+ from local breweries that were brewed exclusively for this calendar. They have put the boxes together. They are stacked up to the ceiling here at Summit Park, and I'm assuming down at Northside as well. You don't want to miss it. Go to Higher Gravity Craft House, HAUS.com/store, and order yours. It's going to be amazing. It's the German house.
Oh my gosh, so many boxes. It's from the windows to the walls. Tell the
Floor to the ceiling, yep.
okay. And
From
then
the tables to the chairs.
yeah.
Okay.
And then that other voice you heard belongs to the gnarly gnome. Hello,
that's me.
gnome.
That's me. Hey, what's up?
Hello.
Hello.
So all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with. That's more for me. I mean, Julia and Gnome can speak for whoever they want, but I need to make sure that disclaimer is there pretty much every week to make sure that I don't get into any hot water.
But I like sitting in hot water sometimes.
Yeah,
especially
you
this
can.
time of year. You get a
yeah.
little
You can.
hot tub, soak, get those
104
muscles all.
degrees.
You have your own
Yeah.
company. If I get in
can.
hot water, I may have to start my own company.
Great you bring that up because all of my thoughts and opinions are representative of Brewdog Cincinnati.
Oh, yes.
Wow. How about that?
I
Stopped-
didn't even know that they were still open.
Stopped for wings.
Oh, okay.
They
okay.
did not open on time.
Oh.
I stood there
Knocking
on the door. It's me knocking on the
Some
door.
fuckface over here wants to get in.
Yeah, and had to get my wings. Got in there, got my wings, and they were the worst wings that I think I've ever
my
had.
God.
They were so bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They looked amazing.
Would you like to take a few minutes and go ahead and regale me while I read some reviews from said
Sure.
establishment?
Sure. So they looked amazing. They came out. They were stacked on this tray. These like giant breaded wings. I only got. It's really cool. You could get an order of 5 wings, which I like. That's good
It's a
for
good
a nice
number.
little lunch.
Yeah.
5
They
wings.
were super big.
Okay.
They were also the
now.
most expensive wings in the city, for the record. And once you got through the 3 inches of breading on
Ooh,
them,
goodness.
Oh, hey.
the wings were.
That's not what you called me.
They were horrible. They were like,
man.
I'm hoping undercooked. Hoping.
I guess you'll
it was
find out in a few
undercooked.
hours.
Yeah, they were a little rubbery and a little
Mm.
they were nasty. They were not good wings.
Not good at all.
Do you have any reviews of this
I got
this establishment?
How about Melissa from 2 months ago as well? The waitress was the only one, as told to us by her. She was the only waitress. While it was all-you-can-eat wing night, she didn't know what the drink special was when asked, but it was
Wing
happy
sauce.
hour till 6.
Oh.
The wings came out. The seasonings and sauces were amazing.
They were good.
But the flour was so thick, most of it
so
came
thick.
off. I thought one
She's
of us.
dead on. It's so thick.
I thought one of us had a pile of boneless wings. It was a crispy flour that wasn't on the wings. LOL.
Wow.
She's my friend.
Wow.
Wanted to speak to the manager. The manager, he actually wanted to argue and then tell her that he could send her the bill when we were told that you were only allowed one drink at a time, as he didn't allow more than that during the happy hour. But my friends had ordered 4 and wasn't told this before the happy hour had ended.
Your friend wasn't a pain, is what happened to you.
When it came to pay, I saw the manager look our way, but never came to collect his money. I left mine on the counter.
What are we drinking?
So, yes. So we're not like those fake-ass podcasts out there, and you know who you are. Maybe we recorded with some. Maybe we haven't. I don't know. But we really drink on this show, and we do it for you, the listeners, so that you know we're tasting these. This is real. Julia, what do you have?
I have Hopslam.
That's excellent. That's a wonderful, wonderful choice. Gnome, what do you have?
I don't know. It's some kind of like sour sherbet, something. Sherbet.
Sorbet.
What?
What is it? I think it's Prarie.
Okay. And then Marco,
Is that
while he's
possible?
looking at it, it is possible. What's in your glass?
It's a new one on the board. It's called Hopslam.
Excellent.
I was right. Okay. Yes. Prarie Artisan Ales. Rainbow Sherbet.
Sherbet. Okay.
Sherbet.
How is that spelled?
It's spelled like
It's with
sherbet.
an A.
It's
SHERBIT. Sherbet.
With an S.
BET. It's sherbet, but is what we all call it. But it's sherbet is the proper pronunciation.
Okay.
It's a long story. But
So
yeah,
what
it's
is
a pretty-
sorbet then?
Sorbet is a different type of
Is it- okay.
ice cream product.
Okay.
It's not ice cream. I know that. Don't send emails. It's
It's a frozen dessert.
I think it has to do with how much sugar you put into it.
Okay.
Versus sorbet.
I don't know.
Sorbet is a blend of. I don't know.
I will look up the difference and I will put it in our show notes. How about that?
But this is sherbet,
Okay.
and it's very tart and very delicious.
Awesome.
What do you want to drink, Julia?
I was gonna get a Phantasm.
I get it.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
See what I did there?
I do.
It's
That was-
like I took
it
the
was-
beer name and added a
And you
tastic.
liked it? Hey, yeah, I like it. It was very, very, very clever.
What podcasts existed this week? Because
There
I'm
weren't
not-
many.
I'm not sure if I listened to
No,
them
there
all.
are
I
only
feel like I'm
2 pieces of content only,
Oh.
and not a single podcast as
Okay.
of today.
That's true.
Yeah,
That is a
as of
valid
today,
statement.
not a single podcast is on our docket. We have the Weekly Pint, and we have Barstool Perspective,
The Weekly Pint will be a podcast.
but it is not current.
It's not currently, but it will be.
Right. So I can't say we listened to any podcasts this week. And then Barstool Perspective is supposed to eventually be a podcast.
That's what they say.
That's what they say, but they also say a lot of things.
As a general rule of
Yeah.
thum, I don't
believe
trust
any-
anything they say.
No. I wish I would have known that before I sold all of my.
I sold my house and
401k.
invested in Tilray.
So I completely cleared out my 401k and
Yep.
invested in Tilray
Yep.
because of what they were saying.
It's fine.
And
It's fine. My
it's
kids
great.
are living on the street and just desperate for
Taking it to the
weed
street.
water to take over.
yeah,
How is Tilray doing?
Josh refuses to speak to me and says that I am making that I have made a terrible financial decision, and he's not wrong.
I mean,
at all.
most
but
of my financial decisions I make are terrible. I've learned that when you listen to Brett and Mike, it just gets that much worse.
It's awful. Well, what do you say we kick things off?
CrowdStrike. I bought some CrowdStrike. That's up 31%. Oh no!
I say that we start things off on either a high note or a low note. It kind of depends. Well, I mean, I guess
It
that
depends how
technically
you look at it.
That absolutely
Do we have to
depends.
talk about it this week, or can we put it off?
We don't have to talk about the previous
Okay,
week.
that's good.
We do have to talk about who we're picking for
Okay.
week 11.
Okay.
Who day? Who day?
Who day?
Write
All
that
right,
down.
all right.
Who day?
For those of you who
picking the
don't
Bengals.
know what we're talking about, this is the Truth Beer Pod NFL Deathmatch Challenge,
Challenge.
where someone may or may not die at the end of the season.
So
we still haven't figured
the
that
gnarly
out.
gnome is picking the Bengals,
Yeah,
which are giving a 1.5 to the Chargers.
Marco, how about you? Are you going to pick the team that I'm going to pick again? and screw me out of. I'm torn between one of two teams, so I will let you pick your team first before I make my final decision.
Well, I can tell you, if you're going to pick the Vikings, you can go ahead and do that because I ain't touching that one.
I don't know. I think they could do all right in that one. Although I thought they were going to do all right this past week.
Oh, I know who
that
you're
was
talking
an
about.
Ugly win.
I know who you're talking about.
Stupid ugly win.
If you're giving me the leeway, I am going to pick the Lions over the Jaguars.
All right.
The Lions are giving the Jaguars 13, and I don't give a fuck because it doesn't matter. They just need to win, and all they do is win with 5 interceptions.
Dude,
all they do is win, win, win.
Whereas last week, all the Vikings did was throw interceptions into the end zone. I'm like, what in God's name?
Joe Burrow has thrown how many freaking touchdowns this season? 26 or something?
He is freaking amazing.
Almost at 3,000 yards, and yet...
Yeah.
Don't
and yet it's
always
just,
win. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters.
Joe Burrow and
Did you
Jamar Chase lead in touchdowns and touchdowns thrown and touchdowns received, and the Bengals
nothing matters.
Did you
Life
see
does
that
not
the
make
Bengals
sense.
are
Nothing
filing a complaint with the NFL?
That's
Doesn't
not
matter.
real. That's
Doesn't
not
care. Don't.
They're going to be.
No, that's not real.
Did you see the picture where there were 3 fucking face masks?
I
In the
did see
exact
that.
same
It was
picture.
a
I'm
bad
like,
call.
what in
Amazing.
God's name is
Yeah,
happening?
it's amazing.
Awful.
Well, they're the most dangerous, terrible team there is.
Terrible.
They're so terrible. They're about as terrible as Marco is on that podcast.
They're not terrible.
With Julia. Julia's amazing.
That's the thing. They're not
No.
terrible.
Julia's really
It's just-
great on that podcast, and Marco's so terrible. Charles Barkley just to say Marco terrible and Julia great.
All right, well, those have been our NFL Deathmatch Challenge picks. If you want to know where each of us stand as far as points go, we're not going to talk about it here, but check the show notes. Shout out to Don Rock the Imposter on YouTube. Check out his channel for all of the most amazing recorder covers of songs.
I have checked out his
including-
channel.
Got
Isn't
that
it great?
butt flute.
It's fantastic. So
I'm
thank you
amazed.
for letting us use gems like this. I love it. It makes me happy.
Makes
it really
me
does.
happy.
It's great.
Yeah.
I've been practicing. I've been
Yeah.
working really hard trying to get this thing, but I can't get that difference between the high notes and the low notes out of the bunghole. I can get just kind of one note. That's about it.
All right. Well, we have 2 not podcasts to talk about this week.
Okay,
No,
let's go.
podcast.
We have Barstool Perspectives and the Weekly Pint. Marco, where do you want to start?
Which one of those will be a podcast sooner?
Ooh, Weekly Pint.
Rolling the dice.
Weekly Pint,
Probably.
I say, will be a podcast
Probably.
before Barstool Perspective.
Okay.
Regardless of what Brett and Mike say.
I'm shooting
Well, really,
for
what Brett
around
says.
9
Mike
a.m.
doesn't really say much at all about it. 9 a.m.? Okay.
That's what I'm shooting for to make
All
it
right.
a podcast.
We will find out. This was episode 236, Subterranean Gnome.
Subterranean gnome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subterranean gnome.
Apparently, you have a dedicated tubular meat fridge.
I do now. Yes.
That is
And I
fantastic.
will forever call it that. I was restocking it, and I went upstairs and I was talking to my wife, and I said, "Honey, I think I'm going to start leaving that fridge full of meat. Just so you know, there's going to be meat in that fridge always."
And what
That's
did she
fine.
say?
I don't care.
So,
I don't care.
speaking of tubular meats, and as we discuss beer,
Oh, sorry.
did
Hang
you
on.
see these wonderful mustard gems that have hit the market? The Sierra Nevada
I have not.
Pale Ale.
Oh, Lord, no. Oh, not just Sierra Nevada Pale Ale mustard. It's Sierra Nevada Pale Ale honey spice mustard. Oh, I can get
What?
behind that.
Oh my God, hazy little! Wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm all
hazy
about
little
that.
thing.
My only
All right,
gripe is they're in a jar, which is fine. It's very like artisanal
Mustard,
or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a pain because you gotta get a knife and like smear it on your.
You can never get
look at
all of it
that.
out.
I like a squeeze
Look
bottle.
at that. We've got the Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing mustard and Sierra Nevada Pale Ale Honey Spice.
I
Hell yeah.
like my breweries making me condiments for my tubular meat. Can we go down a rabbit hole?
Absolutely.
Ah,
So there's-
yeah.
we
there's-
already are. Yeah.
All right, let's go down the rabbit hole over here. Okay. There has been a whole like discussion over the years that when you make a cocktail, you're supposed to use like crappy booze for the cocktails.
Okay.
Good booze if you're just drinking it by
Okay,
itself.
straight.
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. If it's good to drink by itself,
It should be good in a
it's going to
cocktail.
be the best
Yeah.
thing that you should probably use in the cocktail.
Right,
Don't
yeah,
use.
yeah.
if you want to use shitty things in a cocktail, use shitty things in a cocktail. That's fine. But the good stuff is going to taste better in the cocktail.
I do.
agree.
The cocktail will be better if you use better booze.
I do think there is a line of diminishing return.
Yes,
where,
but it will never be worse.
No, it will never be worse.
All right, back out of the hole.
Sake night.
Yeah.
Hey,
You open up a
sake.
bottle of sake.
They don't have
You know
any
what's
here.
better than drinking sake?
What?
Finding a random bottle of sake in the
your
back of
fridge?
your tubular meat fridge and then drinking it on a random Monday
There's
night.
no sake here.
They used to.
Is there?
There used to be.
Is there some?
There was some, yeah.
Oh, okay. Jason, all right, maybe I missed it. My bad.
Get in the truck.
It was in.
We're driving to the other side of the store.
The last time I saw it, it was in the farthest cooler, closest to the wine.
I
Like
probably
one or
missed
two
it then.
bottles.
I
Yeah,
missed it.
yeah. So you were talking about sake and how it's made and some of the different.
I didn't actually talk about how it was
things
made at all.
well,
It's very
Not so
confusing.
much. Yeah.
You talked about if it was made from rice hulls.
Hull.
Hull.
Hose. Use a hoe. I'll say
So
that.
there's
Use a
a
hoe.
difference between the letter O and the letter U
Yeah.
that I did not hear
Well,
properly.
you take a hoe
on
to
the
a
show.
hotel.
Well, it's
Hotel
very-
everybody.
It's very hard to pronounce.
Those are your friends. Those are your enemies.
Hull. Hullabaloo. Right? I don't know.
Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
I have no idea
sounds
where
like
that
a
even
good
came
party.
from. Could be. Very, very well could be. There was some talk about the Bruckman project that you're
Yeah.
working on.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Which tied into the Subterranean Gnome title of the episode. But I don't know how much I should say or could say, but things are coming along. Are
Well,
you still...
It's not that I can't say something because I just don't know when I'm going to have it done.
Sure.
So
Are
I don't
you-
want to say that it'll be up this week and you guys will be able to see it because I
You
don't
can't
know if
guarantee
I'll have done
that.
this week.
Well, can you answer this question? Are you still Subterranean for the Bruckman project as
Yes.
much as you were a couple weeks ago? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
We
That's
still got a lot
awesome.
of say we. I'm not doing any actual work. I'm just there standing in the corner filming them
Filming
doing work.
things.
Yeah.
Do you want to just tell the listeners what that actually means? Like
He was literally he was
Bruckman
standing in a
project.
corner.
Yeah, I'm in the
In the
corner,
corner.
filming them
That's
doing
me in
work.
the corner.
That's Gnome in
That's
the
me.
corner.
Yeah.
That's
I have
Gnome
the
with his
spotlight.
cam.
I have the spotlight
Project.
on the camera. It's the light that I use. No, so
Filming the tunnel.
if you're going to make this a lot of work for me and I have to explain everything, I will. So I'm filming a project in which the Brewing Heritage Trail is helping to make the Bruckman Cellars, which is the Bruckman Brewery Complex, is the most intact brewery complex, historic brewing complex that still exists in the city of Cincinnati. Like the old farmhouse from the 1800s is still on site there and still pretty much the way it looked then. There's there's probably 5 different brewing buildings still intact with lagering tunnels underneath of them. However, the lagering tunnels over the years have gotten a little flooded and a little mucky, and
Muck.
there's a whole lot of things going on down there. All of the water needs to get pumped out, which is now. There's just a little bit of
Pumping.
muck
That's
left
good.
over. There's, for some really strange reason that I still don't really understand, a lot of milk jugs, like
Yeah.
hundreds of milk jugs in the, I believe, and without my notes sitting in front of me, I could be wrong, but I'm going to say
Do you want to use my notes? Do my notes have it in there?
70s, there was a winery on site, and so one of the tunnels is full of wine bottles and some old bourbon barrels that they were aging wine in. Some of that needs cleaned up to make it so that people can take tours through these tunnels.
Which is the end goal, to make it
Yes.
accessible for tours for the Brewery Heritage. Wow.
Brewing
Heritage
Heritage
Trail.
Trail.
Yes.
Words
And
are hard.
So I'm documenting this whole project of getting them ready. The complex, different buildings are owned by different people, so you're dealing with lots of different owners, and it's very complicated to get it all to make it happen. So they finally got access and got some people that were on board to help this happen, and
And you're helping to document the process.
I'm documenting the process.
That is fantastic.
Hopefully,
Can't
That's
wait.
amazing.
not hopefully. Next year you'll be able to tour these cellars.
Nice.
It'll be fun if we
Nice.
could find some kind of time to do that, where we could link the past and the present together and have some public tours. I can't figure out how we can link all that together. There's a piece that's missing that I just can't. When we could do all this and get it all to come together.
You're still working on updating your studio.
Always
In progress. And we got a lot of behind the scenes on things that you license in order to make all the different pieces of media and content that you do.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's see, what other things do we have to talk about? You made it to some of the Honor Bus stops for this week's Honor Bus, which, man, I would have loved to have made it, but I mean, just family obligations, couldn't do it. Let's see. So this year's Honor Bus, there were 2 buses instead of just one. Matt Damaris does an amazing job, and I'm saying this not from experience of being there, but just from seeing what's been posted and what is said from other people. He does an amazing job each and every year. You got to experience it firsthand this year, and hopefully more people next year donate, contribute, volunteer if needed, and just show up at all the different stops that the veterans are taken to just celebrate everything that's going on for
I want to be more
year
involved next year. And I talked to him this morning and told him this.
Yeah.
Not everything I'm about to tell you, but that I want to be more involved.
Sure.
I think what's going to happen is he needs to wear a backpack.
Yes.
And like Yoda riding on Luke Skywalker,
carry you
I'm
around?
just going to ride on his back,
Sounds good.
hanging on with the camera. I think that might have to happen next year.
We talked about this a little bit.
Not that
Earlier
Matt
on.
Damaris is
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker, and not that I'm Yoda. I'm not. Nobody complained about that. I get it.
But he should carry you around like Luke carried around Yoda.
I'm definitely more Jabba the Hutt, and he's definitely more Han Solo. Yeah. He's,
Okay.
Well,
All right.
yeah.
Julia.
Okay.
who
No.
would
Wait.
you be?
Wait. Yeah. Who? Okay. Let's break this down, Julia. Star Wars characters. Who are all of us?
Oh my
Like,
God.
Who are we?
Oh man.
I think I'm more Boba
Nope,
Fett.
you don't get to pick your own character.
Yeah,
we
you
all
can't-
want to be
you
Boba
can't.
Fett. We can't all be Boba Fett.
Okay, so then
are we
You
just-
don't get to pick.
Are we just-
Julia picks right now, and then you get to pick.
Are
for
we
us.
okay,
talking-
all right, fine.
Yeah.
Are we talking the original trilogy? Like what part of
Whatever.
the Star Wars universe?
Whatever.
Oh, good God.
Don't get too like crazy because, come on, some of us don't know those weird Disney shows.
I think I could see Marco being a kind of an R2D2.
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Are you about
Yeah.
to take my beer from me?
No, I was gonna pour a little bit in mine, but
Okay. Knock yourself
no,
out,
no,
man.
no. I'll just get another. All right, so I'm R2D2,
A
huh?
little bit of R2D2, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can see that.
I can see that, yeah.
All right,
yeah.
two of mine.
A lot of noises, a lot of stuff happening that you're
A
not
lot of
really sure what's
beeping,
going on.
yeah.
A lot of beeping, a lot of just random screaming, like ah, and just going on. I mean, he just sometimes he just gets off and just like runs and
Sometimes he just tumbles off a cliff.
exactly. I mean, things.
That does happen.
And it needs to be like saved and
Yeah.
brought back up. Yeah.
You know what
Yes.
though? R2D2 would not need saved. He would have his little rocket boosters.
This
He
is
just
true, and he would just.
right up back on, and then
Yeah.
he would beep 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 right up.
Well,
the,
but what if he's stuck in like mud or something? Like sometimes he needs some help.
Has he ever needed help?
Sometimes when he was knocked over the one time, he needed to be pushed back into an upright position. Which I don't remember which movie.
Did he need to?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if he needed to or if he just his
need-
friends were nearby, so they just helped
I need
out.
to do some research. I don't know that
Okay.
R2D2 has ever
Ever-
needed help.
Okay.
Or ever drawn dicks in the snow.
Oh, I'm sure
Oh, I
he's done that. I
guarantee he has.
guarantee you he
Yeah.
has.
And they're
Yeah,
very
yeah.
Yeah.
very correct.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah. Julia, I don't know. I mean, Julia's a very strong, independent voice. Certainly a main character, but I mean, how many main characters can you have in this?
According to Disney, a shit ton.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, doesn't really need help from a lot of people, but really, forefront. I don't know. This is very difficult to pick your Star Wars character. And then if whoever I pick, I'm going to be wrong. And
I won't hold it against you. It's fine.
I don't know. Actually, I'm going to pick a character, and I don't think you're this, but I think you're more this than you think you're Luke.
Luke is whiny.
I take deadly objects, deadly weapons, and immediately point them at my. You know what? Actually, that tracks.
I don't think you understand. You're the savior. I don't think you know that you are the savior.
I don't know about that. See, for Gnome, I would say Leia for you, just because recording content,
like the hair.
Recording video. I mean, you always have the headphones
cool
on. You got
hologram.
you got the holograms. You got that.
Okay. I'll take it.
You're sassy.
I'm
You
a
will
little
say
sassy.
you will say what's on your mind, and you're like, well, I don't. Why can't you just do it this? Like, why isn't
But
this?
she kissed her
common
brother,
sense?
and I can't get past that.
I mean, Luke
My
kissed
sister's
his
nice
sister,
and all,
you know,
but I don't want to
you're-
kiss her. Not happening.
We're not
Although,
saying this is like a hard.
I
set
think I would kiss
everything
my
about
brother.
them. Oh,
I'll be
well,
damned. I might be
You
Leia.
you might be Leia. There you go. There you go.
All right, I'll take it. All right, so I'm giving. I think Julia is definitely. What's the new chick? Ray.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that right?
Ray, yeah.
I think you're Ray, where you are. You're trying to figure out your place in the Force, and
I swing a big
understand,
stick.
Yeah, you're just swinging that big old stick around. Not really sure how to use
Nope.
it, but you're gonna figure it out. Marco has to be. God, he's got to be some kind of like obscure bounty hunter at Mos Eisley, where
No.
you aren't sure if he's full of shit or if he's actually saying something important.
Did he shoot first?
You never know.
That's true. Yeah.
You never know.
When Marco takes a shot, I mean, it could be first, it could be second, it could be last. You don't know.
I wish I was better at my Star Wars mythology, and I could pick out some of those people and tell you who they were. But one of those bounty hunters, one of them, not Boba Fett. None of us are Boba Fett. Boba Fett is.
Okay.
All right. That's cool. So, Marco, did you pick who Gnome is yet? I think that's the last.
I think he said I was Boba Fett. I think. is what I
Well,
learned.
but that was when we weren't. I don't think
No,
that was
he
when we
said
were
he was
actually.
Boba Fett.
I
he was
actually
Boba
thought
Fett.
Gnome picked who he was.
Which you can't do. So
Yeah, all right.
invalid.
You
Even if you
can't
did,
do.
it's invalid.
I think.
I think I said I was Yoda, didn't I?
think-
You can't.
yeah,
you can't
yeah.
pick that.
Well, if he has a good reason for it, he can pick
No,
that
I don't
for
know
you.
he can. I think that's. I think it's off limits.
So how can you nullify that
No,
if that's like
you
a
know
legitimate?
what? You're Chewy. Yeah.
I need an explanation.
You're the best friend everybody needs.
Yeah, I
mean,
like that. Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
needs Chewy.
Yep. He kind of like steers you back onto the straight and narrow. Like,
Yeah.
okay, look, stop being dumb. This is what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
That's
I'm gonna
not at
save
all
the
what I
day.
do.
To you, but to like
My whole
from-
purpose is to steer people off course.
Yeah.
which is very apparent by this podcast. We've been going for 45 minutes already.
You said you were afraid because we only had 2 pieces of content, so I'm just
And I knew-
making a show.
Hey, you know what? It's appreciated. It's appreciated. Good Lord, where I don't even where. Hold on, where in my notes were
Now we're
we?
done.
Finding the best brewery wings has been more challenging
God.
than I think you thought. Especially,
Brewdog.
Yeah.
That was
No,
like-
let's not.
That was like 20 or 30 minutes ago.
I know.
It's,
It was.
there are things that like this post that I put out eventually next year. Like it'll be fine.
2026.
It'll get a little bit of traffic,
Will it age well?
but maybe, and maybe I'll update it over time. But like, there is no way that post ever generates enough to like justify the amount of time
money
and effort and money and stress and
know-
like horrible wings that had to have.
That
No
post
way.
is going to get so much interaction.
It won't. No, it won't.
Oh, I don't know. I think it will,
It-
or it'll start
it
strong.
could.
I
It
think it'll
could.
start strong.
Oh, okay. More or less than the Golden Gnome. Like, who won the Golden Gnome?
Yes.
I'd say more. Yeah.
It should get more, but at the same time, it shouldn't. Like,
I agree.
people should
Sure,
argue the
sure,
same way about
sure.
what the best Oktoberfest is as they do
I
the best wings.
totally
So
agree.
so-
I totally agree. People should get frothy over both, and I think people are only going to get frothy
Over
about
wings.
wings.
I
Yes.
think I'm going to get a lot of brewery or food partner owners that get really grumpy with me. I think that's what's going to happen.
I had one final note before the sip and sniff count for this episode.
Okay.
you had what I think was one of my favorite quotes about kind of your life in general that I may
If
use.
it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow.
Okay, so there's another quote
Okay.
that you said, which I kind of want to use for the title of the episode unless something else great comes
No,
along.
it's fine.
You said, my life is a series of unfinished projects.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
And I felt that in my soul. And I thought that was...
I watched.
It was
a,
one of those, like,
I watched a YouTube video this morning.
The whole thing?
the whole thing.
Yeah, there's always YouTube videos just constantly playing in my house. So Van Neistat it made this video. I don't know when it came out. I think it was probably about a year ago or something like that. And in there, he's telling you rules for your workshop. And one of the rules was you don't start any project that is in the same category as a project that is not finished.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I
You're like,
spent the whole
oh.
day like thinking about this. I'm like, oh my god, like, that's a
That's-
good rule to live by.
That really is,
If you
yeah.
have a construction project in your house,
Don't start
you can't
constructing
start
something
another
else.
construction
Yeah,
project
yeah.
until that one is done. If you have a video project,
Don't
you
start
can't
another
start another
video.
video
Yeah,
project
I
until
like
that one's
that.
done.
That's good.
If you've got a podcast project, you can't start another one until that one's done. And like you can do all of these different things at the same time, but each category has to be finished before the next one starts.
I
and when
like
you
that.
finish it,
I like that.
you clean up your stuff and you get ready for the next one. And I really, really like that.
I do too. That's fantastic. That's very good.
Very good.
Either of you have any other notes on this week's The Weekly Pint? Or let's do it the weekly... Well, no, we can't do it. Never mind. Before we get onto the sip and sniff count.
It's going to happen. I
All
knew it
right.
was going to happen.
In this in this episode of The Weekly Point... Well, jeez. That's not at all how that was
I don't understand
supposed
what's
to
happening right now. Just put some of that in there. Okay. All right.
Okay, now we cheers for the weekly
Okay,
point.
okay.
Oh my goodness. There were a total of 8 sniffs of sake.
Okay.
Is it sake? Sake? Like
It's a
you?
pins. It's a pins. So it's a pins.
Okay, okay.
Is it, I can't think of another good example.
Sorbet or sorbet?
Yeah.
Sorbet or
I'm very American. I have a very American pronunciation of things.
What?
That doesn't mean that there is not a proper pronunciation.
Sure. Okay.
So I'm sure that there is a Japanese pronunciation which is sake.
Sure. Okay. So,
Sake.
But I would say sake. That's how I would say it.
8 sniffs,
Okay.
6 sips, which each sip, I mean, that had to have been more than 2 ounces per sip.
No! 6 sip!
Well, more or less.
She,
I want to
That
go
is-
to Japan and
that
drink.
is 14 total countables. That is 28 ounces per our drinking game. 1.75 pints.
Of sake? Or of
Yeah,
just anything?
Anything.
Oh.
Oh, man. All right. Well, while these two try to figure out what in the world is so funny. Damn it. Do we need to take a break before moving on to All right.
Sake.
I will take that as a yes. We will
More
be
sake.
right back.
We are back.
Back. And we have a green bottle on the table.
Kanpai! Kanpai!
Yeah.
Kanpai.
Cheers.
Kanpai.
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 Oh, wow. Okay.
It's delicious, right?
Yeah, like that's... For something that's 15%, like I thought it would have a much stronger flavor to it.
The balls.
This is fun. This is good.
It's good.
This is really, really good.
I've been trying to preach the word of sake for a long time.
Oh my God.
It's delicious. It's like soft and fruity
Yeah.
and It's like wine. It's like beginner.
without,
It's like beginner wine.
Yeah,
No, it's yeah, beginner wine, but it's boozy too. Like it's
but not overly so. Like there's no boozy like burn, but it's but there's a bit of it.
It smells
there,
like
yeah.
booze and tastes like booze, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't know.
if booze bathed in flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
maybe.
This is fantastic.
Can we read it?
Yeah.
The hospitable California climate, specially selected California rice of the highest grade and pure water from the Sierra Nevada mountains. Sierra Nevada, see how this is all
Hey.
tying together?
Rice holes.
Combined to create the ideal conditions for producing superior mellow taste. This most traditional style of sake, that's in italics. It must be very important. This most traditional style of sake is naturally smooth and well balanced. The full-bodied flavor of shochukubai is deliciously enhanced when it is served warm.
Oh, all right.
So yes,
So you
they
need to just let
encourage
it
this to be
sit
served
here.
warm.
Okay.
Well, this touches me.
There's more details. Hang on. Nope, don't get ahead of yourselves. This is a Junmai shu, which has something to do with the polishing or something. Sake
Pop on my
meter.
knob.
They have a category that says sake meter. It's an actual category.
Okay. All right.
On the sake meter, this is a +3, medium dry. I think I experienced
you
the sake
said- yeah,
meter. They
yeah.
didn't call it that, but I think
Okay.
I experienced it.
Yeah. It began with a. Was it an N?
I don't
like
know.
It's
It was a crazy word that I could not understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Body full. I disagree a little bit, but maybe I'm
Maybe
a
if it
beer
warms
guy.
up. Yeah.
I'm a beer guy.
Oh,
That's true.
sake.
Aroma mild. I can get behind that. And then we have another category here. It says serving temperature, and it gives you how good it is on everything.
Okay.
Warm. So 100 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit. It is excellent.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's what it says.
So that's like
Jesus
boil. That's
Christ.
hot.
Yeah, hot.
That's hot.
It's
hot
excellent. Excellent hot.
Like in a tea.
Okay.
Room temperature.
That's
it's
the way I
also
am.
excellent.
Excellent hot.
Chilled.
All right.
Room temperature, I'm excellent.
Chilled, which I think is what we're drinking it at.
Yes.
It is good.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm that way.
On the rocks and cocktail, excellent.
I would agree as well.
And then it gives me tips for warming my sake,
Got your tips.
and it gives me food pairing tips here. It says it's okay. It says food pairing, mildly seasoned. So mildly seasoned food, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, you could pair this up with your sukiyaki.
Oh,
It
okay.
goes
Yeah.
good. Goes good with that.
Sukiyaki, yeah.
Teriyaki is teriyaki sukiyaki. Do you think they're
They're opposites
related
of the
somehow?
same thing.
They gotta be close
Yeah,
related
the opposites,
somehow.
same thing.
Oh,
teriyaki-
never mind. Scratch all that. It says all Japanese foods.
Yeah.
Never mind. All of it.
All of it.
Oh, and many other Asian dishes. All right. So it's
Okay,
good with
okay.
pretty much everything that is not American. Okay.
Sounds
All
about
right.
right.
Yeah.
This is very good.
Yeah, there's not a hamburgers and French fries
It
or
did
a
not
hot
say that,
dog
no.
or
Said
you know,
nothing about tubular
that
meat on there.
bullshit Cincinnati chili.
You know that
measure.
there are both hamburgers and hot dogs in Japan.
Oh,
so that makes it Japanese
absolutely.
food. So yes. However, I don't think there is a Cincinnati style chili in Japan.
No, probably not.
Nor there.
or
sure
if there
there'd
is,
be.
they're doing it poorly.
Well, they don't need it. We don't need it.
I bet it's there somewhere. Somebody's trying
Someone's
to do it.
probably brought it
yeah.
in.
There is some little little bar.
Do you want to move on to Barstool
Oh.
Perspective? Yeah.
We're recording right now?
We're still
Yeah.
doing this.
This is a
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Never mind.
Okay.
This
All
is
right,
the
let's
only
go.
other show we
Okay.
have to do, and we're already at an hour and 5 minutes.
Oh, way to go.
Goodbye! Goodbye!
Why does my throat hurt so much?
Oh,
Sorry.
the screaming. All right, this is the episode that was on November 8th of 2024. I kind of miss the titles. Like, and I just,
Yeah,
they don't
so
tell
I-
you anything about it. It's like,
In my notes, I have a folder that everything drops into
Mm-hmm.
for each show, and in there, it then gets alphabetized based on what the note is titled, which is the title of the show. And theirs
So
is
how do you do?
theirs is
yeah.
the worst.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Because if I
they're
like it,
gnome, yeah.
it's bad. It's bad.
Brett, Mike, producer Dan, do better.
Yeah.
Do better. Title
Well,
the episodes.
They start out and what Mike has to rub one out or something. What is going on there? Oh, crank one out.
Oh, yeah, there was
yes,
something. I don't have my notes in front of me. Yes, he was
Yes.
cranking something.
He was cranking
He
it
was
out.
cranking himself or somebody
Sorry,
else.
not
No,
rub one
no,
out,
no, no.
crank it out.
So
Yeah, you're right.
They
You're
started-
right. He did
they
crank
started
somebody
Off, they started off
off.
the show by talking about is cheaper, good wine coming, and
now.
and with excess grapes, they're trying to crank it out.
You
with
acted like
getting
I was a
the-
weird
Oh,
one.
I forgot. I
Because I
don't have my
forgot.
notes in front of me.
Right.
I
Well,
left my notebook in the car.
And things have been so off track. I hadn't had a chance to read through my notes.
You guys were looking at me like I said
Well, I
some
mean-
crazy. I'm like,
with
what?
some of the other things
cranking anything
that
out.
have been
But
said
he is.
already. Why not? Yes. Yes.
Oh, crank one out. Goodbye.
Well, and so kind of tied to that, Brett made a statement that if you ever stay the night at Urban Artifact, do not sleep on the pullout in the offices.
Yeah.
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 Well, and they gave Mike
Should be.
an
Okay.
office.
What I have so many questions. I have so
I don't
many
know
questions.
why. Because they wrote a book together.
I can't really call it an office. I got to interject. Okay,
So you know what this is?
Yeah, I've been here.
Okay.
I've been there. Like I've recorded shows there. There is like a middle room with a bar, or a kind of bar.
A table.
A
top, at
bar
least.
that looks good on video. And then the rest of the room has holes in the floor. And you have to be careful where you put your stool as you record the episode.
My
And
stool.
then around the room, there are a couple other rooms that are several other offices for people, such as producers of the show, and Mike, and then there's a bathroom. All of these are just as terrible as the studio is.
Okay.
Okay. We can call it an office, but it's kind of. It's a shithole.
It's a shit.
It's fine. It is a great place that I feel like I should have at every brewery in the city.
Okay.
That's in my office.
Yeah.
That if I get shit-faced, I can go upstairs and fall asleep on a futon.
Is the market adapting to cheap wine and the convenience of boxed wine, especially businesses, to where boxed wine may stay fresher per pour than a bottle of wine does?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack with that.
What I would say is that it makes sense that if a lot of the public is looking to save a buck but looking for a value,
Yeah.
it makes sense that box wine is having a moment, kind of like Aubrey Plaza was having a moment. I mean, I think
She's always got her moment.
yeah. I get that a box wine may be having a moment, and that's fine. That's good. I think if they're talking about more varieties other than say the cheapest and the ones that we know, which ones are the ones that are actually having the biggest gains, right? Like Franzia, I don't think Franzia is having big gains or topping out. Now, what box wines are the ones that are, getting the mass appeal? I get Black Box,
Yeah.
I get that one. But are there others? Are there more? Are there ones that we should try that we haven't tried? I asked Nick here, producer Nick. I said, "Hey," and the topic also came up about Aldi wine and all the,
The cheaper spirits and beer and all
and
that all these
and beer and stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I haven't had it." And I was like, "Well, is there any way we can, do a tasting, find a way to figure out we
can make that happen.
What
I think that there, and this is very stereotypical, and this is probably wrong to say, but I think you've got a whole bunch of soccer moms that just want to like pour themselves a glass of wine. They don't want to open a bottle. They just want a glass of wine, and they just want it to always be available. A glass of wine. I think it's that simple.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple for the person providing it. I think for the people who are looking for it, I think
nobody's looking for it. People discover it and they're like, "Oh my god, this is the solution to what I wanted."
It's more of a convenience thing?
The amount of people that I have talked to that just want like a little squirt of beer or a little squirt of wine or a little squirt of a cocktail.
Who wants a squirt of beer?
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
Really?
Yes. So many people.
Just a squirt of beer.
Just a little squirt of beer. Just a little 7-ouncer. Just a little squirt.
Yeah.
And if you've got it on tap, they'll take it, especially when you're talking in the house, at home. The amount of people that'll just take a little squirt. Yep. Not retail, but like home.
I know you have a lot of refrigerators, and I know
have a lot of refrigerators. I have a whole meat refrigerator.
I know.
A whole tubular meat.
Tubular meat
refrigerator.
Are any of them draft coolers?
No.
Okay.
They were supposed to be. That was in the design of the basement, but no.
Okay, that's fine.
There have been,
it doesn't have to be.
There have been plenty of times at home where I'm like, where I'll go, I'd like a beer, but I don't want to have a whole can. Like I don't want a whole bottle or whatever.
Yep.
I would just like a bit, so then I just don't open one because I'm like, well, if I open this can, then I have to drink the whole thing.
It would be great. It would be great if I had like
I don't know
7 wives that all like. And it's like, hey, you guys want to share a beer, and like you can all share a beer. And then,
and a lot of times the beer that I want to drink, Josh isn't feeling, whatever. So it's like if I could split a can, and I know that they have whatever.
I mean,
I absolutely.
I get it.
And when you open a bottle of wine, you feel like, well, I have to, if not drink it that night, like within a night or two.
And for me, wine,
I think
most wine is one of those things that like I just want a little squirt. Like I don't want to sit there and drink a bottle of wine. I will never drink I don't ever desire to drink a bottle. I've been there.
Right.
I've been there. And then pizza.
I think we all
bad.
need to frame this correctly. It's like we would.
We would
Kanpai.
Oh no.
Here, there's 4. Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
We would. But I don't think framing anything in the sense of we have to, we must, anything like that. We need to avoid those so that anybody who is recording, anybody who is aggregating or recording this, they don't need to. Have us say, we must do this, or we have to do this.
If you're opening a bottle of wine, to me, I feel like that's I have to, I must.
Yeah, that's the feeling for me as a consumer.
Within a day or two, right? And I think a lot of consumers have that same one, so I don't think that's wrong to say.
I definitely feel in the way that you feel that opening a bottle of wine means that for those who are partaking, we must, for the correct representation,
right, for the
we
correct
must
flavor,
finish this today.
Yeah, either today or within maybe a day or two.
And I think they talked about that on the show.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Yeah.
Whereas, like,
with like the box wine, because it's in that airtight bag, you get that same quality even if you have that squirt of wine.
It's weeks.
On day one, and then you don't feel like another squirt until 2 weeks later.
Kind of the same with a lot of packaged beer versus draft beer.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could probably open up a bottle of barrel aged beer, open it up, pour yourself half the bottle,
recap,
seal it up. It's probably fine the next day.
Probably,
it's probably gonna be that far off. Carbonation might be a little lower.
Sure.
You might not even notice, but
if you don't have
it's
that
not
option,
it's not what we think about when we think of opening a beer.
Right.
When you open a beer, you finish the beer.
Right.
And it's
And
the same.
sometimes
Yeah.
that's
It's
not
kind
what
of getting the
I
same way
did.
with a bottle of wine.
For a business where you want to try to have that consistent quality, like the boxed wines, at least from the way that Mike and Brett were talking and describing this, it feels like that is a better way to go because you get a more consistent
Yeah. And-
quality pour on
and-
day one as you do day
and I
And
will
people
say-
are expecting it.
Yes.
Like that's what people
Yes.
expect. Like it's fine. Like you open it and you like it sits on your counter for 3 months and that's fine. That's what we
Unless
do.
it's on tap or some other
and-
sealed system.
Yeah, it's growlers. Growlers are a great example. Like you could you could
that's
fill a growler
very true. Yeah.
and seal it back up and drink it the next day and it's probably just as good. But people lose that faith in the beer. Like oh nope. Once you buy it,
I think this all
it's done.
completely circles back to our discussion multiple times of
Yoda.
Give us those little 7-ounce
Okay,
cans,
Yoda, yeah.
like 7 or 8 ounce
Sorry.
cans of whatever the beverage
Something
is,
different.
beer,
Yeah.
wine, sake, whatever. Like I've always wanted to try sake, but I'm not going to buy a whole
Oh,
bottle
she's
like
wise
this
as
because Kanpai.
She's wise. She's wise.
Because I don't know if once I open this, do I have to drink? Must I drink the entire bottle within a day or two, even if I recap it, recork it, whatever? Or if I recap, is this a product that will be good for a couple days? Because I
Yeah.
don't always want to drink all of this. I mean, sometimes I just want that little squirt of a beverage.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about being like a drinker now is trying to find ways to consume the things you want in the quantity you want
Yeah.
and not waste a bunch of money and have things
Sure, yeah.
go bad.
Yeah.
That's hard for a lot of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to sit there and drink, a whole bunch of something.
It's
and if something's
especially-
coming in a 19.2 ounce giant tall boy of something, and we want to try it, and that's the only thing it comes in.
More so than that. Even
Sorry,
when you,
we're
even
gonna
when you
waste
look
some.
at some of these barrel aged releases that are just in a glass bottle, but it's a pint. It's not like it's
Yeah.
it's an obscene amount of beer. For me, it's not the kind of beer that Josh wants to drink. So when I open that, I have to know I need to be in the mindset to
hit
where
him.
I am
You have to hit him. Like, actually, like walk up and be like, hey,
like, hey, come on, you're sharing this
Yeah.
with me.
It's like
drink this.
Let's see, what else did they talk about on Barstool Perspective? Alcohol and minimum markups. It's weird shit, yo.
it is.
really
Like
weird shit.
It
I
is.
listened to that part like 3 times.
Weird shit. Kanpai. Kanpai.
Kanpai.
I listened to that part like 3 times, and I still don't quite get like it still hasn't
it's-
clicked in my head. But I did understand avoid Indiana when buying your booze.
I don't
know. That's
I've
just
never
one of the-
tried, I guess. I don't know if I've ever bought
I don't know.
booze. I've bought beer in
I've bought
Indiana,
beer in
but I've never
Indiana,
bought
yeah,
booze.
plenty of times, but I don't
think.
think that I've ever bought booze, yeah. Let's see, what else do we have here? Something that we kind of mentioned a couple times. You can get good wine and beer at Aldi. They have a new stock stance. Maybe don't buy Tilray, which they said after Gnome, you said
They
that
said after that
after they were
whole
like
period where they told us to invest our life
totally
savings.
buy. Yeah, so that's
Yeah,
what I did.
that's
I
fine.
took my 401k. I
All my
sold
kids'
all
college
of it.
funds.
Yeah, and I bought nothing but Tilray
My
stock.
kids now rely on
Another-
weed for their
yeah.
college.
And they're like, well, maybe you shouldn't do that. And it's like, come on, guys. Are you financial experts or not?
Yeah,
I
they,
guess
they
we
told
have
us they
learned.
were. I think,
yeah,
I think that's what
so
they said,
several
right?
times.
I have
Several
to go back in
times.
my notes, but I think they said
I
we
wanna
are
say, yes,
we are
yes.
financial experts and trust us. I think that's what they said.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust us being the key words. I trust
Key
them.
I did.
word.
Yeah, I
Trust
did
us.
trust them.
Yeah.
I trusted them.
Mike shared his thoughts on prison culture, which was
Yeah. It's
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think he might be onto something, but I don't know. I have a very,
I don't
know.
I have a very
Hold on.
limited experience in being in jail,
Yes.
and mine was very,
Very
limited.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, and mine was very limited as well.
Julia.
Zero experience.
All right, we gotta
Yeah,
get Julia to jail tonight.
God no! God
Ah,
no!
Julia to jail! Come by!
No,
Come by!
No!
Come by.
Come by!
Julia, don't go.
No.
Julia, don't go. I would say don't go.
No!
My experience was not great, but Good story looking back on it for me is involves using toilet paper for pillows, and it was good. Met some good people.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see what else do we have here. The secret to a long life is Guinness, which I can buy into.
It's hard to argue that, and there was another article that came out like very recently, like I think this week or something, a doctor that was, kind of battling all of this stuff that is happening with these people saying that alcohol is not healthy, which
right. I mean,
I can't say that alcohol is healthy.
However,
but when you really dive into the studies, it kind of
they cancel each
balances
other
out.
Yeah,
like it's just as unhealthy as it is healthy. So like you're just I think you're no better either way.
I think that George Burns being able to have a cigar till he was 101, and people
cigar smokers live longer than non-smokers.
But when is a cigar just a cigar?
People who have I think the bigger thing is people who have habits or these things that they have.
Alcoholism is bad.
Yes.
Like there are people that drink an insane amount of alcohol. And
it's a literally damaging amount, right?
It's
their bodies
destroying their body.
Quite
that's
literally.
not good.
No.
But that does not make alcohol bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Same goes for a lot of things. Sunlight is not bad.
But enough of it
will
literally
give you
going
cancer.
to
We know that.
Absolutely.
It's bad if you take too much of it.
Sure.
Everything in moderation.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially moderation. Moderation. Kanpai.
Kanpai. Goodness. All right. From the Can Beer Review, Fat Tire Ale. They have the most interesting point scale for this one. You get to learn exactly how many points genocide takes away when you're reviewing a beer.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Didn't expect that kind of turn at the end of this episode.
Yeah, wow. So weird.
How many points does genocide take away from your beer?
All of them.
I'm going to say 90% for me.
It doesn't
It's not that I like genocide.
Yeah,
it just means that
it doesn't.
it doesn't.
It just means the beer's still good.
Yeah, but no, I think you're absolutely right. It's like, hey, I can totally be in opposition of anything. However, I am not 100%.
There are just certain things.
Closed off to.
Do you shop at Walmart?
No.
At all? Mm-mm. Amazon is the perfect example.
Sure.
Do I pay more to get it later, which doesn't make logical sense, or do I pay a little bit less to get it faster and support a company that we know is not a great company?
Right.
And I do that. I support Amazon.
Yep.
I don't morally support them.
Right.
But I do
your dollar's
because
still
of
good.
my budget in my life.
Sure, right.
I do that. That's my line.
Yeah.
In our day-to-day lives, like normal things, there are things that we don't budge on, and there are things that we do. And how do you find that line for yourself?
I have 2 children of special needs, and I have a wife that works in special needs almost full time. And so I do at many times wonder if what I'm supporting in any way helps forward the mission or what we're doing with the special needs or anything.
It gets muddy though.
It does. It really
gets
does.
muddy, and a lot of times it's just not necessarily as clear, obviously, with the muddiness, but.
Muddiness! Kanpai!
Kanpai!
All right. Any other notes on this episode of Barstool Perspective?
Oh my God, we're talking about a
episode?
podcast.
Yeah. No, we are not talking about a podcast.
Not a podcast.
We did not have any podcast to talk about today.
A YouTube video.
Correct. Sip count?
Let's go.
Sip
7.
count. Let's wrap this up. Mike had
7 sips.
No.
Oh no.
A little more than double that. Mike had 15.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah. Brett had 21.
3. Okay.
Oh, 7 times that.
He's always higher.
21 sips. That is a total of 36 sips between the two of them, which for our drinking game is 72 ounces.
That's a lot of
Or
ounces.
4.5 pints.
That's a lot of sake. Kanpai! Kanpai! A lot of sake.
All right. This is almost a 2-hour-long episode. I blame the sake. Do either of you have any other notes on anything that we talked about or even stuff that we didn't talk about? God, I hate to even bring that option up. Cheeseburger in paradise.
That's my note.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
Fantastic.
I don't know what it means, but it's written down.
All right, then I will just go ahead and start with the outro. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what we did, please do whatever you think you should or could do, like, review, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'm going to make this really easy for you guys. Go to truthbeerpod.com. Links to absolutely everything from our social media platforms to how to subscribe to our Patreon, where you get the unedited episodes a day early. All of the nonsense that I cut out of this episode, which you can probably tell from my editing job that there was a lot of shit cut out of this episode. You get it all. You get it all.
That's the sound.
And you can also find out how to sign up for the mailing list that we have for our sister podcast, Cincy Beer Events, where we give you all of the beer events happening in and around Cincinnati, going out about a month or so. You can get to your inbox not only the events, but the Facebook event page listing for it, or the link to buy tickets if it's a ticketed event. I try to make it as easy as I possibly can for you, so please sign up, because I do put a lot of effort into trying to do that for you. It's a lot of work. It is best effort. I do my best without, driving myself crazy. Other than that, Marco, Gnome,
Julia,
we're not going to be drinking sake next week, but what?
We might be.
Ooh, good
You
point.
don't know.
This is true. What are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
we're going to do this, and I think next week is Kosh Night.
Kanpai!
Kanpai! Woo!